Welcome. It's your boy Q from Q'd Up Productions, and today's topic will be note velocities and how it affects the groove. If you were just to go in and click notes, you would come up with something like this, which is pretty stale. It's kind of stagnant. What we want to have is we want to have something that's going to give us a little bit more of a bounce, a good realistic feel to it. Even if we're not drummers, this is what we would kind of try to go for. Has more of a bounce, more of a humanistic type of feel to it. All the notes are not hitting on the same velocity. If you zoom in closely and look, then you can see that they don't always hit necessarily on the grid. And those are the types of small things that you want to do to get a more realistic feel to your music. So we have another example here of the same type of click in pattern. Let's see how this one sounds. Let's do the whole thing. I could have went Control A, but I just did it the hard way. It doesn't matter what level you put your velocities on, they're still will sound stagnant. It doesn't matter if we lower them down to here, which is 51, which they're just quieter. It really doesn't matter. So if we take these, we move these back up to about 80. And then we're going to go over here to our next one. So if we go over here, this is an example of course, going in and changing those notes. And then I'm going to tell you and discuss what these extra notes, these purple notes in here are. Okay, so here's the same thing. We have our regular notes that they're not on the grid. The velocities are changed. And if you have ever studied or analyzed a drummer when they play, every note is not exact. Sometimes their sticks bounce a little bit more and they get an extra note, or as what we call in the DAW world, ghost notes. And ghost notes are great because it also adds to that humanistic feel, because it sounds natural. I mean, you're not going to be able to hit everything on the grid and not get a double note or a light sounding note. So here, if we go here and get rid of all of these and just listen to the kick itself. And that's, the kind of bounce, when you're actually using your foot and stepping on the kick pedal, that's what you get. It doesn't necessarily hit the kick drum and then stop. Sometimes it has that slight bounce because it has a cushion on it. A cushion is attached to it. And then the same thing with the hi-hats. So same thing. Something else to add to this subject further would be to study and analyze drummers. You can get a lot of benefit from doing that, understanding how they use each hand to do the things that they do. I'm not a drummer, but I make sure that I look online. I see drummers in stores and things like that, and I just kind of sit and watch them and watch the things that they do. I ask them a lot of questions. I pick their brains. I encourage you to do the same thing. If you have an opportunity to get a drummer into your studio to kind of direct you or tell you, no, that doesn't sound good, that's it's not, you can't play it like that, then by all means do that. And in case you can't do that, there's some tools out there that we have that can help us out. One would be Superior Drummer, Tune Track. Logic actually has some drum kits and things that they use. If you don't want to use this type of drum kit here, you can also use the drummer that is supplied inside of Logic, and you can play around with that. I don't particularly like to use drummer. I like to do the things myself because it doesn't always give you the groove that you want. But the great thing is that you can go in, you can take the MIDI data from it, and then take out what you want. Contact also has some very good drum kits. They have modern drums and R&B drums, 60s, 70s drums. Those are also a good choice to look into. That's my time. Hopefully you learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most of all, stay queued up. Peace.